Hi everyone, welcome to the APAC or Asia Pacific, I should say, Canvas K-6 or P-6, depending on what state you're living in. The user group, first one for 2023. So this is in this user group, we will focus a lot on primary school or junior school or elementary or whatever you might call it in your particular part of the world. We've got some wonderful people who are jumped on to the user group today. Now, just a reminder, these are actual user groups. So if everyone can turn their camera on, that would be wonderful, just like we're all in the room together. Feel free to unmute and participate, ask questions, pretend we are all in the room together, because we technically are, we're in a virtual room. So yeah, we'd love to be able to see your faces and to have you participate and share the things that you're doing at your particular school. So yeah, don't feel like you can't share what you're doing. That's the whole point of us being here together as users of Canvas. So it's not about us and instructor, that's for sure. It's about what you're actually doing face to face with the kids in the classroom. So we've got a little bit of a shorter agenda today. There's a couple of people who couldn't make it to the meeting this afternoon who are going to share a couple of specific things. But as I said, it is a user group. So if there's any Q&A or discussion that you want to have amongst everyone that's here or sharing that you want to share with what you're doing at your organization, then feel free to do so once we've kicked through the initial part of the agenda. But we do have the wonderful Paul Harmon, who's going to share a little bit about what they're doing at Barker College in the junior school and helping to eliminate the dreaded spreadsheets amongst teachers. And we all know what those are, and using them to record marks. It's not uncommon for teachers to have all their spreadsheets and instead of just keeping it all together in the system. But what I might do then, Paul, is hand over to you, and then we'll just jump into some Q&A and discussion and sharing and see where we go from there.
Sure, no worries. Can I share screens? Cool.
Definitely.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Yeah, my name is Paul. I'm from Barker. We're a pre-K to 12 independent school in the northern parts of Sydney, around the Hornsby area. We are just recently gone co-ed. So we're full co-ed now, pre-K through to 12. That's jumped us up to about 2,800 students across the school. So it's got big fairly quickly of recent. We weren't small before that. So yeah, it's been really interesting and a great move too. I think I'm finding it a lot more fun in the classroom. We've been Canvas users since 2017, I think we came on. And have been getting it running for us over the years and doing things and taking advantage of some cool new features that it's got in it. Instead of interest, we went to the elementary interface last year for our junior school and love it. The way that our reporting works with our student information system, we're forced into creating separate courses for literacy course and numeracy course, and we're a PYP school as well, so we have an inquiry course, and I've had to do them all separately, so they sit really nicely in the elementary interface. We liked it so much this year we took it up into a high school as well, which is great, and the feedback we've had with it so far is really nice. I just like the navigation in it, the simplified menus, and it works really well for the kids. Another big exciting thing for us was the update to the gradebook as well, which has really helped us out. We run a thing called progressive reporting here, which you may possibly know as continuous reporting. We, of course, have to Barkerize it and give it a different name because that's what we do. So essentially what it is, rather than just the parents relying on their end of semester report, and in particularly at the end of the year, they get it 2 days before the school shuts and it's too late to do anything. So we've been working on that model for some time. So now we run basically what we call checkpoints. And they're a snapshot in time of the children's learning, and we do this from kindergarten right through to 11 at the moment. So rather than having particularly in the I can talk more from the junior school anyway, we don't have sort of like that formal summative assessment so much now, and don't make a big deal about the assessment. But these are these little snapshots in time, and it can be anything the kid's doing in a unit of inquiry or a numeracy task or a literacy task. The teachers go in there, they assess it against a set rubric with outcomes that we've put in, and then that's released to the parents on a dashboard that we now have running through our intranet. So the parents go onto the dashboard, they get a notification from their parent account in Canvas, up pops it in, they can go in, they can see the feedback that the teacher's given them, they can see how their child went against the outcomes that we assessed in that task. And then also a thing we call learner agency, which is an approach to learning, which is essentially an effort grade, and that all appears on the dashboard. But they've got the ability to burrow further into Canvas. And the thing we really like now with the new gradebook is that when the parent and students go in, they see the task, they see the progress of where the child is up to, and generally it's finished by the time the parents get to it. They see the full rubric that the student was marked against, and then they see a student work sample. So if they have uploaded to Canvas in that task, it's sitting in there. And any ongoing conversation that the teachers had with the child appears down the right-hand side, which is really, really nice. And we encourage our staff, they have to comment on each of these checkpoint tasks. And we work on, in the junior school, we work on a 2 stars and a wish. So 2 things the kid did well and something they could improve on. And then we do give the children time in well-being to actually go back and reflect on that feedback and then have that ongoing conversation with the teacher. And it's something we found it has been really rewarding, rather than it's just giving feedback on a task and bang, moving on to the next one. So that's been quite good. So that's been going on with us for a while. We're into our 2nd year of it now in the junior school. We had a big information evening with our parents the other night. We've got 750 kids in the junior school, and we had about 120 turn up. So that was just excellent. When you make these big fundamental changes in the way you do things, and then they can't come along, and then they get cranky because then things have changed and they don't know about it. You will feel my pain, I'm sure. So we've put this idea across because we finalized the dashboard. We basically pull the data out of Canvas by API call, and then we have on-site developers who've written this front end in SQL and publish it. So it's been a lot of work's gone on behind the scene. Just to jump back to the continuous reporting, so we're assessing against these outcomes, and then K to 6, I use that kind of overview of the necessary outcomes. So I use reading, writing, and speaking and listening. And 3 to 6, it's just changed with prep, of course. And then underneath that sit the necessary outcomes, because we not only assess against necessary outcomes, we assess against their PYP and against their inquiry. So we've kind of got these overview outcomes. And I was finding in the checkpoints that they may assess reading a couple of times, and we get to the end of semester, and what we had there in the SIS for the actual report transcript that went out to the parents was incredibly inaccurate. And of course, they all whinged at me and going, yeah, this is hopeless. We've got to go and spend all this time now and engage, which is our SIS, and go through and adjust all these marks. So I've been worked on that sort of since last semester last year, and then, you know, going around talking to a few grade coordinators, and I find on their computers, they've got these wonderful spreadsheets, and they've assessed reading another 10 times. So they had a really accurate picture of the student, but I didn't have that data because I couldn't get to it because the spreadsheet sitting on their OneDrive or somewhere else on, you know, sometimes in their own computer, we couldn't get to it. So it wasn't surprising what we were getting was completely inaccurate. So this year I've asked, prodded, gently reminded people that we're now going to take all that data out of the spreadsheets and put it straight into Canvas. So we now have in our mark book, that's essentially our mark book for each subject that we do, from inquiry, English literacy, and all our specialists. So they're keeping a note of those checkpoint tasks in Canvas, but they're also keeping other tasks that will go through and assess what they've done in the classroom. Some of those tasks could be specific. You know, I think year 3 today, I was helping them with one, and they're doing a task on persuasive writing. It isn't a checkpoint, but they're still assessing against those outcomes and then putting the results in Canvas, which is really, really nice. And some of these tasks can be teacher judgment as well, because they've often said, well, but we're going around the classroom and we're anecdotally writing down things about how well a child is doing in reading, for example, and it's how to capture that. So again, we get them to create a task in Canvas and go back and assess that and make a teacher judgment call against the outcomes. So now instead of 3 outcomes for reading, I'm getting 10. So the results I'm going to get will be a whole lot more accurate. we collect those at the end of each semester. We via API call and a whole lot of eggery pokery API Python witchcraft, which I don't do. We pull the data out and we put it in a format that we can push into our SIS. And then from there, the SIS automatically creates a transcript for the parents. So our report is a little bit more basic now. It has a grade for the subject, and we also give them a response to each of the outcomes, and that's what they're seeing. Teachers go in and do one pastoral comment. So our reporting time, as you know, a lot of schools, you get to your end of semester reports and the school shuts down for 4 years. For 4 weeks as you go through. You're putting the data in, you're writing comments, it's getting checked by that person, then it's going up to exec to be checked. And it was this hugely stressful time, which was ridiculous. So we've kind of bypassed a lot of that now by doing it continuously or progressively throughout the term. Can I share the screens?
Yep, go for it.
Yeah. All right. Let me just flick up something that we have developed this year. Can you all see that? Yep, getting nods. Great. So the other thing that I've gone and done now to make this a whole lot easier, one of the things that our head of junior school has said, he doesn't want to see marks anywhere that parents can see. And I know why now, because as I was updating viewing marking schemes for about an hour, a grade of 3 out of 5 appeared on a reading task in Canvas, and we got 2 parent phone calls to the teachers going, "Why did my child only get 3 out of 5?" And that was us. I was updating things. So it's good to know that they're looking, which is really, really good. So what I've started doing now is that I'm using the GPA marking scheme. So I've gone into the back end of Canvas in our sub account because we're different for the junior school. And I've set up a marking scheme, and it's based on cutoffs. Oh, sorry, that was it. Around our word grades. So limited, if the student's getting 0 to 15%, they're limited and so on, as you can see there. So we use this grading scheme now in the task. So I've put a nominal value of 10 points here on that example, as you can see. So we set the grading scheme, but then you base it off the rubric. So I go in here and I've got the rubric, and you can see these bullet point outcomes. These are the ones that we're assessing against for our reporting. So I've loaded all these in the back end of Canvas again under our outcomes for our sub account. So they're all loaded into a course, so I can jump in and pick up the outcome and then import it in. Now, traditionally, we'd always remove points. So no points were ever seen by anybody. But with this, is this new, Paul, the new use rubric for assessment marking, or is it just that I've just found it?
No, it's not new. You just found it.
I've just found this wonderful thing in here. So now I'm leaving the marks on, and we're ticking that use the rubric for assignment marking. So when the teachers go into, and you'll notice there, I put that nominal value of 10 in there, and then it does a calculation on the rubric and sets the score for the task. So it's jumped the points up to 15 now, which is great. So I love all this automated stuff. So you go into SpeedGrader, and this is just a test course. And when I view the rubric, you go down, click what they got, and then save it, and it automatically updates the word grade there and pushes that through to the markbook, which is really nice. So we're really happy with that. For our checkpoint tasks, we publish them out to the parents. So I actually changed the grading scheme to manual release of marks across our whole sub account for junior school. So a checkpoint task, when the whole grade's been marked, the grade coordinator goes in there and posts the marks, and they release en masse for the whole grade. They go out there, the parents get a notification, and then they'll feed through to the dashboard. That in-class stuff that I mentioned, it's still published, so the teachers can get in and mark it. We're pretty specific around our dates, our due dates for tasks. They've got to fall within the semester, but they don't release those marks out to the students. So the only little, I guess, one part that I'm waiting for a bit of blowback from the parents is they'll see a whole lot of tasks upcoming in the schedule, but then not seeing any results for it. But the teachers have all the evidence there, and we've got parent teacher night starting tonight. So all the teachers are geared up to know that they can explain this off to the parents, whether that it's in class stuff that we're keeping results for. So just to jump.
does everyone, just before you go on, does everyone know about the grading policies in Canvas? How you can do manual and automatic and what the difference is? Shaking the head for Melissa there.
So yeah, in the marking policy, and you can do this course by course as well, they default to automatically post mark. So as soon as you mark something in SpeedGrader, it gets released to the students. Yeah, so we manually change ours to manually, and it puts that little let me flick back here. Can you see that little eye up there with a line through it? Yeah, that means they haven't been posted. So you can do it from SpeedGrader, post the marks, or you can go into the gradebook and let me go there, and under the 3 dots you can post. So this is a live course now. This is my STEAM class that I've got. So this is the nice result that we're getting from the task they've just done. If I need to, and I've got a few teachers who are like this, who just need to see numbers, which is really exciting for them. I know you can go and change it and see it as points. That doesn't get shown to the parents. It's purely in the gradebook, but we ask them to keep it as the marking scheme. And then we're really careful how we section up our assignments. So then we set the assignments, they have to be in groups. And you can notice these ones are in my progressive reporting semester 1 group. So it will give me a total there for semester 1, because the semesterization is new, isn't it? Was that new, Paul, or is that another thing I've just found?
So are you talking about grading periods?
Yeah, grading periods.
Yeah, it's been out a few years, Paul.
Okay, so I'm going to stop talking now. Go and cry in a corner. I thought I was being really clever.
Oh, it is. Not everyone uses it. So this is why I'm glad you're bringing it up.
Good.
And it's also a good demonstration that no matter how long you've been using Canvas, you can always learn new things. This is why we do these user groups. This is perfect, Paul.
That's good, yeah.
Yes.
So we can, I can get a score for each assignment group, and this becomes important. And then there's a semester 1 score there as well. We do a thing at the end of the year called Sappy Seppi. I used to know what it stood for, but I can't remember anymore. But basically it allows us to see where the kids sit in the year group and do our awards for year 6. So we can now and it was this horrible spreadsheet that everybody had to go into, and it had all ranking calculations done behind it. And when something broke, it was like I'd go off sick because it was so stressful for me to fix the blooming thing. But now we can just copy a column and drop it into a spreadsheet to get a result for the whole year group. So it's met 2 things for us, which is really nice. So I'm really happy about that, that we can do that. And as we have those tasks that weren't the checkpoints or the ones released, we'll get in a literacy course, for example, I'll have a reading group. So I'll get a whole mark for reading. I'll have a group for speaking and listening, and then a group for writing as well. One thing I wasn't overly happy about was the new syllabus that got released for prep this year, and I've now had to change my outcomes from 3 to we've narrowed it down to about 6. Underneath those, I'll list the necessary outcomes in there so they can be seen in the rubric and that sort of thing. Yeah, so look, we're really happy with what this is doing for us. This whole bit here is new this year. We're just starting to hit our first checkpoints now and getting results out in our gradebook, which is super exciting. Get our results out in our parent dashboard. So they're seeing that straight in their intranet portal where they go for everything. So it's brought it all together under one roof, and it's going to make our whole reporting process much more streamlined. I'd really like to get to the point where that transcript at the end of the semester basically just has a grade for each subject, and that's it. And everything else they see in Canvas as they're going throughout the year. That way we're meeting the necessary requirements to get that grading done. And that's, legally what we have to do for the parents. But there's all this other data that we've got sitting here inside Canvas, and very, very excited about Canvas Data 2. Thank you, Paul. and what we're going to be able to do that, just to be able to pull stuff out and then write a lot of our own front end stuff out of SQL and that sort of thing. So
for those who aren't aware, Canvas Data 2 is just come out this month, and it's progressively being rolled out, particularly to people who are actively using Canvas Data 1 at first, and then for those who have put up their hand to request it after that. Yeah, it's essentially all of your data from Canvas. You can, there's a new API for it where you can pull all that data, put it in your own database, owned by your own school, where you might have other data from your student management system, from your
NAPLAN.
NAPLAN data, whatever data you have on premises, your attendance system, all sorts of stuff. You can bring it all together into your own database from all these different systems, including Canvas. And then you can do whatever you want with it. So you can use whatever tools to either do what Barker is doing and create a dashboard based on that data in the database, or you could use a BI tool like Microsoft Power BI or Tableau or something like that to create dashboards or write queries or slice and dice the data to do reports for executive or whatever it is that you want to do. And the reason why we Canvas Data 1 has been around for a little while, and Canvas Data 2 is an improvement on that. The latency has been reduced from about 24 to 36 hours of latency for the data to less than 4 hours for that data. So it's a big step up from that perspective, and a little bit easier to, sorry, not necessarily easier, but a little bit different way to access the data via an API. Yeah, there's only so many different types of specific reports we can cater to inside of Canvas, because every school does things differently. So everyone wants to get their own custom stuff done. And so Canvas Data allows you to do that kind of thing, where you can create custom reports using your own BI tool. We just give you the data and then you run with it from there. Obviously, you do need someone who is able to manipulate that data and put it into a database and stuff like that. So you do need some skills to either in-house or to hire out to someone who can do that for you. But it's very powerful for reporting purposes.
We really am excited about it. Prior to that, we'd do an outcome report for this process out of Canvas at the end of the semester. And even for the junior school, the spreadsheet I got last year that I was trying to manipulate, it had 64,500 rows in it. So I was trying to manipulate that around to get work because our script broke. But anyway, but yeah, really excited because we can do that. And the next big project that we're doing is doing another dashboard that's going to take a really in-depth look into the student learning and student growth, and pulling in all those NAPLAN results, and the parents can get in and see this wonderful picture of their child and where their ability levels is, and then longitudinal growth and that sort of thing. I just left my screen up as well, because just also in the gradebook to show you, I jumped from the Mark book into the Learning Mastery, and then you get this really nice graphical picture of how they're going against those outcomes. We had lots of discussion about our color scale over on the right hand side there. That was fun. But you get this super nice picture of how our students doing at a quick glance in the Learning Mastery book. So we're really pleased with the way that it's heading. It's been quite a journey getting here, but it's now starting to come together, which is fun.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. And that's, as you pointed out, you can actually download outcomes data if you're using outcomes in your rubrics. I really like how Paul has done that. I actually ran a webinar on outcomes last year, so feel free to have a look in the community for that one. But the fact that you put it at the account level when you added those outcomes, which means you can pull that data across all the courses that used those outcomes in Canvas. So if you create those outcomes at the account level, you get all of it. So if you are a bit of an Excel guru, you don't need Power BI or Tableau to filter through the data. You can just open it up in Excel. It's a CSV file that you download as a standard report out of Canvas, and you can slice and dice it in Excel if that's your jam. So yeah, thanks. Does anyone have any questions for Paul?
Probably more a comment than a question, in that I probably have to process a lot of what he's shown, and because I really love what you're doing at Barker with that, but and maybe down the track have more questions once I've had a bit more processing, because we use at our school, we use Canvas in the secondary, but not yet P-6. And there's obviously thoughts about moving across. I teach in both, so I use it with my year 11 and 12, but not with my primary students yet.
Yeah. Just out of interest, we use it 3 to 6, and in prep we use Seesaw as the front end.
Yeah.
The teachers will mark and give feedback in Seesaw, but they then jump into Canvas and complete those rubrics for me. So it's a little bit of a double up for them, but I still need that data out of Canvas because I can't get it out of Seesaw.
Yeah. I think I like what you've done for the reporting side of it. I find that really intriguing. We all know that there's a lack of time as a teacher, so if we can get as much on board with that, happy days.
Yeah.
100%. If you can take away that reporting rush at the end of semester.
So I may be emailing you.
Yeah, no, please feel free. And look, the other big thing about it is, as we do the checkpoints, we're giving the feedback to the student, to the learner, and we're not writing those box comments to the parents. I can't stand that. It's crazy. You know, we want to give the feedback to the kids to improve their learning, and mum and dad jump in along the journey and see how it's going, rather than pulling a, what do you call the comment bank? Oh, hate it.
Tom, got your hand up there.
Hey all, I'll lower my hand. Bit of an introduction. Just my name's Tom from Mentone Grammar. Very, very green in this area, mainly because we've only just started with Canvas, and I'm still getting my head around moving across into using TAS as our SIS. So yeah, very early days for me. So I'm going to ask you probably some very basic questions because I haven't really used Canvas so much myself. But I'm thinking from what you were saying before, Paul Miller in this case, with that new Canvas 2 that's coming out, we might be able to take that data straight from Canvas and putting it into Power BI. And therefore you might be able to get all your parents looking at your end result or your end report from Power BI, let's say, as a report. And then you might be able to, I guess, can you, or would you, or would anyone in the room kind of summarize that data or take a snapshot of that data to then store it in their SIS? Would that be a process that people would do? Paul's nodding a bit.
Yeah, I'm nodding a bit. I'm just trying to find our PBI front end to show what it looks like.
No, James, I can keep waffling if you're going for a bit of a search as well.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying. We're in the process of changing our SIS over. We were using Engage, and we have a number of people about to shoot themselves in the head if they've got to keep going with it. Things are that good as most SISs that we use. So we're looking at different options, but yeah, certainly pulling the data out and moving it across into our one's Engage. We definitely did. For Canvas Data 2, we're probably going to create a SQL server and dump everything into that. And then we write our own front end. And one of the problems with SISs is I think we quite often get them and we try and customize them to our needs.
Yeah.
And we are just absolutely classic for that. I said we barkerize everything. I actually call it we buggerize everything because we do. You know, we've got to make all these changes to suit what everybody wants in the school, and it breaks the SIS. It's not surprising. So we're trying to keep that as much off the shelf as we can. What it does well, let's utilize that part of it so we don't have the headaches, and then we do our own thing either out of Power BI, out of that SQL database where we can write our own front end for it.
Sounds good. Yeah, I've come from 8 years of working for Synergetic as a vendor.
Oh,
so
okay.
I know what you mean with that sort of stuff.
Exactly what I mean. Yeah.
Change things around and make it fit. But yeah, trying to use the product as meant to be.
Yeah.
And then try and find this other stuff that you're already looking into to find that final solution that we've got there.
Absolutely. I'm just going to, is that all right, Paul? I'll just share the dashboard so you can see what it looks like at the front end.
Yeah, go for it.
This is a live student, so please don't look at the kid.
All right.
I'll have to. You're making extra work for me, Paul. I'm gonna.
Can you blur his name out for me?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that.
Let me know when I've landed there.
That's come up for me.
Great. So the parents go into My Barker, which is our intranet, and they go through to the standard dashboard there. We can sort this on academic year, so we can go back 2 years because we've got the data in Canvas. They go and select a subject. Up pops the comment that the teacher gave the child as a response to the task. When you go down here, you can see they assess speaking and listening in here. As you hover over, it gives you a grading scale. and down the bottom, we do that learner agency or effort grade as a scaled graph. And as you flick through the different subjects, like, I can see who's marked so far this year. This is good. None of these guys. That's great.
We can just pretend.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's some really good comments in here. So there's a maths task that's been done. Simple comment. And then this one, they've assessed 3 outcomes in this, which is great. And that learner agency would change if I went to Italian. Let's see what Gracie's done. Yeah, I can't show it on the page, but this has changed quite considerably for the students. So the parents getting that rich, really nice, rich data. If we, bear with me. There's that Canvas link I mentioned. So we put that at the end. Let me see if we can pull it up. I'll go into student view and you can see what we get. Yeah, so this is what the parents see when they burrow in. So and I know I shouldn't say this, but for our helicopter parents who want to know all the details, they can do this. You get the whole task information there. There's the whole rubric. So they see the response in there. If there was a student work submission, it would appear down here. And then the comments, I think this is a quiz, so I haven't quite not been able to show you properly what this is. Any comments would come up down this right-hand side here. So they get this really nice in-depth view of what the kids are doing. So yeah, it's kind of lots of work's gone into it.
And I think that's something that will end up going down as something like a Power BI and getting that dashboard and having it easily accessible. I guess the issue we've got is moving from our LMS onto Canvas now. We don't want too many changes or move too fast. So I guess what we're going to try and do is replicate what we've got with our academic reporting through TAS in Canvas, just like we have with our old system D2L to Canvas. I guess my main question, which might be something easy, maybe Paul Miller, I'm not sure if you've just got a link you can send me or something, but that main question of once we've set up all the academic reporting and information inside of Canvas, what would be an easy way to export that so I could take it into some sort of format or Excel document to give it a good massage or whatever's needed in order to then bring that into, in our case, it would be TAS. And that's probably a very simple question, I guess, for some people that have been using the system for a while.
It depends. Are you talking about in bulk across the entire school?
Yes, yeah, in bulk.
Yeah, so that would either be the API or something like Canvas data to get that sort of data in bulk. Because you can go in course by course and grab all the a CSV for all of the gradebook or the markbook for each individual course. So that's really handy for individual teachers as well. You know, if they do want to pull it out and just have a look at it separately, that can be helpful. You can even add in some marks in the columns that have marks missing in that CSV and re-upload it into the markbook and bring it into Canvas. Obviously, the best outcome is to do it all directly in Canvas anyway, which is what Paul's advocating for. Just put it straight in. Why double up?
Yeah, and that's, I guess, what our main aim will be. I guess what I need to find out is, am I able to replicate our final kind of report that they've designed and agreed upon? Can we replicate that quick enough in something like Canvas to get something on a dashboard or get that available? Or do we go a little bit slower, just replicate what we've currently got with a bit of extra work to then maybe next year aim for something as a school and move forward?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is probably a conversation we can have outside, but my gut would say one step at a time.
Yeah. I don't want to rock the boat.
Don't try and chew off more than you can. Take off more than you can chew right from out the gates. That's more just a general recommendation for a rollout of Canvas or any system, really. You don't want to do everything all at once.
About 3 years into this now, the reporting.
Yeah.
Started in middle school, and then I trialed last year in junior school. Well, trialed about the first half of the year, so it's been quite a long and bold process to get all the bits to work together.
Well, I think what we currently had with our old system D2L, we were doing half in D2L and then half the results inside of TAS. I don't want that. I want now teachers just working in Canvas. They don't have to do anything in TAS. Currently, we might extract the data and then put it into the data sets inside of TAS. but maybe down the track, it's a matter of just taking the end report or whatever we've got and doing that more as an archiving session rather than any creating and using everything, hopefully through Canvas.
And you know what? There's no one size fits all for any
Yeah.
of this either, because different schools are different, and there can be cultural aspects as well. Some schools like to review all of the marks before they go into reporting systems and things like that. So they like to do the double step. You know, they have it in Canvas and then they intentionally enter it separately into their student information system because of that process. So it's good to be mindful of that as well.
And
And
that's
a lot
what-
of that's more cultural or change management piece rather than a technical piece.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's where we're at. I would say by next year, I wouldn't have our staff going into the SIS to double check the marks because they're seeing it all in Canvas. And as long as we get that accuracy and we've got that breadth of data to pull in, it's going to be pretty accurate. We do we work with a company called Curio, who we get to write things in Canvas for us. And those guys have written us a wonderful little LTI that we go in and run. It gives an outcome report and it actually shows like a grade coordinator who's marked their tasks. And so they can do a quick check as to what's missing or anything like that. And then that just helps us all with that accuracy. But yeah, we certainly, at the moment, we're checking in the SIS as well. It's just a final check before but we could completely automate that, gets pushed into Engage. Engage creates the PDF. Then we also script it to upload straight into our intranet. So it would be, the aim is stuff just in Canvas.
Sounds
And
good.
make life
Thanks
as
for the
easy as
advice.
possible. Well, I mean, it's both make life as easy as possible as you can for your teachers, but also what's the student outcome? You know, it's a much better outcome for the student if it's all in one place for them as well. They can see their feedback. Much better outcome for the parents if, particularly, you know, the whole continuous reporting aspect. Not only is it saving teachers time at the very end of each semester with that reporting rush, but it's timely feedback for the students and for the parents to be involved along the way rather than, as Paul said earlier, just finding out at the end of the semester how things went when it's too late to do anything about it. So yeah, it's good practice all around. Just good pedagogical practice. All right, any other questions for Paul? Is anyone else doing more of a continuous reporting type of thing? Yep, Jackie.
Well, we do at OSG. But we do it in the secondary, not in the primary space just yet. So we have, though, our parents go into Canvas. We're trying to get them to go into Canvas and look at Canvas. So again, though, like Paul, we use the assignment groups where we have a dedicated assignment group. So then we're training parents to go in and search via assignment groups. So we love it. Again, like what you said, Paul, it makes sense to us that students are getting that feedback in time. Parents can engage at any time, and teachers aren't necessarily rewriting the assessment task and giving all the feedback, and students aren't then applying it. And we just found those comment banks, and it's just very generic when you wrote a report. So we haven't moved to the primary space yet. That is a space, though, we would really like to go to. We don't use Canvas as heavily in the primary space as well. We use it as almost a second teacher, the flipped learning or discussions or things like that, just using it in that blended learning environment. Yeah, so we love it. It's great.
In the primary school. Yeah.
Yeah. I am a secondary teacher. I am jealous that I wish I could teach primary in one regard, because they have a lot more flexibility and freedom how to use Canvas than what we do in the secondary space. So, yeah.
So yeah, still using Canvas in primary, but just in a totally different way to how
Totally different way. And we're very clear with primary that they are to use it in a very different way to our secondary. We don't want them using it the way we use it. In New South Wales, we're 12 campuses, but we also have campuses across the globe. So Canvas is the way for all of our secondary students. We put everything in Canvas. But for primary, it's very, very different. They're all face-to-face. So we do steer them away. They sometimes want to go, particularly with COVID, they wanted to go with the secondary way, but we're steering them the other way. So much so, as Paul knows, we had a competition last year to try and see how primary teachers were using Canvas, so we could sort of showcase those, because our primary teachers are saying, show us how we can use this, what can we do? So yeah.
So if people are interested in that, we're actually planning on at our next user group to have a bit of a chat about one school did with showcasing what their primary classes have done. So make sure you do come to the next one to have a look at that.
Yeah,
pretty awesome.
So it is, but yeah, again, it's kind of reminding primary teachers that, hey, you guys use it different to what we are in the secondary space. Yeah.
Yep. Sure. Okay. Well, I think we've covered that quite thoroughly. But yeah, there are lots of different options for doing that. And as I said, you can pull that information out of courses. If you just want to do, grab outcome information for individual courses as a teacher, you can do that in Canvas as well. And you can also do it at the account level. And we do recommend with the outcomes data that you do create the outcomes at the account level rather than individual courses, because in general, especially for how Paul was using it at Barker, you're going to use the same outcomes across different courses. It's not just a course by course basis, and you want to get that reporting across courses. So you can pull that information out and use the account as the filter across all those courses that are using those outcomes. Okay, so I suppose at this point, we probably just want to open it up to just general sharing. Anything anyone wants to share that they're doing at the school that might be helpful for anyone else who's watching this or is live here with us right now, or any questions, just general questions we want to open up for anyone who might want to respond. Did the obligatory 6 seconds. Everyone's pretty shy. That's totally fine. It's been really wonderful what we've talked about so far today. We've kind of gone around a little bit, which is exactly how it should be when we have a user group. Yes, Tom.
Just a side one on this. I don't think I was on the list. Marie passed me across for this user group meeting. What's the best way of joining it or knowing that I'll get the notifications?
Yeah, just reach out to our team and we can get you added, make sure that you're on there.
All right, thanks for that.
Yep, no worries. And feel free as well, if you think there are some teachers that might find coming onto the user groups useful, or might have some really cool stuff to contribute to the user group, make sure you do invite them along, because the more the merrier. So just forward on the email. We obviously can't send it out to every single teacher at every school, but feel free to forward the email for people to register. That's totally fine. Cool. You still have another question, Tom? Or?
No, I left my hand up. I'll take it down.
Okay. No worries. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I suppose that's probably a good point for us to finish up today. Yeah, thanks everyone for coming. It's been really wonderful having the chat and getting some insight. And if there are any other questions in between now and the next user group, feel free to reach out to our team, and we're more than happy to jump onto that and have a bit of a conversation. So until then, have a good week, and we'll see you at the next user group.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.